Hey guys, and welcome back to Gregtech New Horizons. So last time we were working on this ore processing system by adding a whole lot of electrolyzers, and I think we're going to start today with a new block on the ore processing system here for centrifuging. So why did we need these? Well, there is a few more dusts which have to be centrifuged rather than electrolyzed, which also come out of the ore processing system. Things like our sheldonite can give us extra platinum metallic powder dust, palladium, nickel and sulfur. We're also doing diatomite here, which we have thousands of, and we get a few extra nice byproducts out of this. All it really costs us is the initial setup here and tiny amount of power basically. And we're also doing black granite dust, which if you remember is how we're getting biotite, and this is how we're going to get fluorine and potassium, used in a couple of the other processes over there. Although I did have to make some modifications to get these things to work. Everything underneath here is now dense cable as we had completely run out of channels here. So I swapped out all of the regular ME conduit to dense, and I also added a second item conduit line right here. So last episode when we were dealing with the electrolyzers, we decided to just put all the inputs back into our main AE system, but instead we're going to filter them into this chest and then join them up with the main output line of the ore processing system, so that all the outputs end up in our subnet here. This is also getting pretty full, it's almost about time for an upgrade. How's our drives doing? Actually not too bad. Not too bad at all. One more thing was pointed out last episode, and I'm starting to see evidence of this now. Since we are round robin from the super tanks here, some of them are, it's ending up in a situation where some of them are not getting empty cells, just because there's not enough in circulation basically. So the solution I think is just to add more empty cells. So we're going to add one more extruder here. Right here, extruder HV cells. And previously I had just been swapping out the cell pattern. I think this was the only other one. Oh no, this is the casing. Wait, where's our cell one? Ah, here it is. So I guess we need one for casings as well eventually. Enable auto output, output to the side, and screwdriver. Done. And why not? I guess we'll use the polytetrafluoroethylene recipe here to give us 4 rather than just 1 from iron or steel. So can we make like 200? Oh yeah, easy. And you know what? This also reminds me, after the muffler, that we need to add a few more fluid solidifiers for the polytetrafluoroethylene sheets and also ingots. I'm not really loving the way this is looking either. This little square that we have, where we had the first explosion, has now been completely rebuilt here. I think this is looking much better. There's also some things that have been added and changed to this setup as well. So, first thing is we're now able to accommodate the Teflon sheets and ingots. And similar to the other setup with the fluid solidifiers, we're using level limiters to control the amount we let through into our system. So effectively, when we're below 64, this will turn on and create us more. And all on the right hand side here we have item and fluid conduits to send the items and fluids along to our AE system. On the opposite side, we are now automatically supplying our fluid extractors for redstone, glowstone, and solar and alloy. The way it was before, we were just manually feeding the machines. So we need solar and alloy for our circuits, we need glowstone for circuit boards, and we need redstone for one of the assembling machines over there. And then the final panel on here is for making rubber. We're taking the sticky resin from our farm, which we centrifuge into raw rubber dust and also plant balls. We also get refined glue, which we're going to be using later on today actually, I think. So the raw rubber dust is then combined with sulfur to give us molten rubber, and that is sent along to one of the fluid solidifiers up there for sheets. And the final top 2 machines is for Passivin's raw carbon fibers, and we're also using the raw carbon fibers along with epoxy to make fiber reinforced epoxy resin sheets. These ones, which we can use for circuit boards. So it's almost the same setup as what we had before, except now we're automatically producing the raw carbon fibers, and we also have a storage bus on the top of this thing. And the storage bus will expose the contents to our AE system, so we can see here we have raw carbon fiber. If we take all of this out, it should enable the machine, and we're going to see more being produced. There we go. Normally I would output things to an external inventory like a drawer, but there's no storage downgrade, so we can't really control the stack amounts of the drawer, we can only upgrade. Eventually though, I mean, carbon and polyethylene is almost free for us at this point, but yeah, it seems since the start of the episode, which is, it's been a few hours for me actually, we have now almost filled these drives, so I think it's time to do something about this. I think this is going to be a bit of a quicker paced episode. I feel like we were going a bit slow over the last few, so I want to get quite a lot done today. Starting with the fact that we need some upgrades to our applied energistics system. Although I don't want to go too crazy with the upgrades. We are already drawing 168 EU per tick, just on the subnet. The main network is pulling 1.5 thousand. That's a lot of power. That is a lot of power for us at the moment. So I would like to add the capability for us to craft 16k ME storages. The thing is, this is going to require quite a lot of infrastructure we still don't have. I mean, we can make the 16 LV circuits for MVs. We need to be able to make these good circuit boards. I don't think we can produce these automatically yet. And we also need to be able to make these item processors. Let's start with the good circuit boards. So for this, we need an assembler with wood pulp and epoxy. The epoxy is technically a little bit more efficient as we get more out of this, but we're going to be using the refined glue. That's going to become clear why we're doing that later on. So hopefully we have some channels under here. 20 of 32, yeah, we have plenty of channels to work with here. We're also going to stick this in an IV assembling machine. We need to give this circuit 1. We also need access to our fluid P2P network here. I actually adore this system, it's so good. I'm not sure if I like it better than fluid interfaces, but we don't really have access to those here, so this is definitely the next best thing. So we need to grab some of our refined glue here, which I accidentally voided with this overflow valve. And it's not going to make us any more because we don't have space for raw rubber dust. Drawer upgrade it is then. So yeah, we set the filter for refined glue. Oh, I forgot the channels again. I don't want silicon rubber here. Okay, it's getting glue. You feel vaguely nervous. Thank you, Thumbcraft. We need a recipe for the phenolic circuit board. Once we have the phenolic board, we need to upgrade this in a chemical reactor with iron 3. Fortunately, we already have that set up here, so we need to find the input interface. I think it's this one. Other pattern goes in the assembler interface. And we give this thing some power. Awesome, we should be able to request our good circuit boards now. It feels weird going back to these things, but they are required for the 16Ks. Actually, what is the recipe for the 64K? I didn't even check this thing. Maybe it's worth going for these instead. In any case, we need to be able to make these item processors. We can make the engineering ones. We need these item circuits though. I think the only thing we're missing here is a EV laser engraver for this, and the final assembly step to put it all together. After a little bit of crafting, there is our EV laser engraver. I believe the second one, we already have one in here, but this is on a different lens setting. And I think we will actually just stick it here in our clean room. Enable input from output side, and plug it into the power line. And you're going to get the diamond lens. And so now the rest all the way down is just going to be recipes. I realise we have the assembling machine also in our clean room here at EV. Recipe for the processor, recipe for the item circuit, the engraved diamond crystal, which goes in our laser engraver. And we're out of diamonds. Okay. Okay, this is a problem. Okay, so I've been doing a bit of prospecting around the Twilight Forest here, and we actually got 2 diamond veins right next to each other. It's just really convenient now that we have access to the Spectre dimension. But yeah, we got our multi-block miner set up, which we still have to upgrade. I don't think we're rich enough yet for that though. And hopefully we come back at the end of the episode to lots and lots of diamonds here. While I was setting up the miner, I realised that we were actually out of squid ink for our prospecting needs, so let's refill that before I forget. I think there's actually a crop that can do this better. We should maybe invest in that. Hello there. You know what, let me actually check if I filtered the diamonds in here to be sifted. It doesn't look like we have. Oh no. Have we not been sifting diamonds this entire time? I mean, to be fair, I don't think we had a lot of diamonds left in ore form. Okay, let's correct that mistake. Make sure they all go through the sifting machine for extra output. And you know what, it actually only costs us 4 diamond plates per 64k storage component. Let's see if we can request 4 of these things. It does have a hefty cost of 50 MV circuits, but the first of many 64Ks, I presume. Actually, what about our quest here? Yeah, we're gonna get some free stuff for this. Maybe we should get the 16k and the 64. Autocraft 1 for me, please. Oh, it's so satisfying getting to this point in the pack. And we'll do 2 64Ks to begin with, I think. It's still a lot of circuits to craft. Yeah, squid ink goes in our printer. It's so weird that I think that we still have to do this. It's such a fun mechanic though, I think. Oh, each quest wants 4 of each component here. That's a lot. That is a lot. Maybe we hold off on the quest for now. It's not like these are going to be the last ones we craft. So we turn the components into the cells, and I think we'll give them all to the ore processing area. There, that should last a few days. I mean, the quicker they fill up the better, it means we have more resources. Anyways, let us move on for today, and I think we're going to tackle some more progression. So if we look at the IV tab here, we still have to finish off the rest of our platinum line, which is going to give us things like palladium, rarity, and osmiridium. Although I think we're going to take a look at the left side of this quest line for IV, which is to make quantum stars. Oh, they stick nether stars. Okay, well, ignoring the nether stars, another thing we need is radon. You may remember we had some trouble setting up radon the first time in our old base here. Although now that we have some of it, we should still have it set up over here. Yeah, now that we have a little bit of radon set up with plutonium. I hope we still have plutonium. Yeah, we do. It should just be an infinite loop, so it means we have to move this LCR over to our new base here. So it's just sitting right next to our rutile processing, and it's almost exactly the same setup as we had before, except now we have the compressor on site. Just a quick reminder on the radon recipe, we're using 8 ingots of plutonium-239, tiny pile of uranium-238, and air. And the plutonium is fully recyclable, so that gets sent into the electric furnace to be turned back into ingots, and then goes back into the input bus. The air just comes from this compressor, compressing empty cells, and the uranium gets unpacked by this packager, and this is also hooked up to an interface back there, which pulls the uranium dust from our AE system, and then after 600 seconds, it outputs radon. So yeah, we are just running this at LV right now, since that's the hatch we had on before. I know for a fact at some point we're going to have to overclock this, but we don't use this in very large quantities anyway. Actually, maybe it is. Each quantum star is 1250, and we only have 1600. And I think we need 2 for the quest at least today. Okay. You know what? We'll see. There's quite a few other things we have to set up today. So it's going to be a while before we actually have to use that thing. One of those things being iridium. So we need iridium for the rods, used in both the sensors and emitters at IV tier. To make the rods, I don't think there's any way to get it from dust. We are currently sitting at 523 iridium, and I think our iridium system is stopped right now. I think we're bottlenecked by calcium. Yeah, we have to fix our production of calcium somehow. But 250 iridium is no good just in the dust form. Wait, unless we can maybe fluid extract dust. That doesn't count, right? No, we definitely can't do that. We need a blast furnace for this. In order to smelt the iridium, we need to be running this thing at 7000 EU per tick, which is an IV energy hatch. And I haven't looked at the recipe for this thing yet. Okay, this is insane. Okay, high power ICs. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we need to get power ICs. We've made these before. I think these are used in some of the EV components. However, we need to chemical react this with vanadium gallium and indium gallium phosphide. Oh, and this is at IV in a clean room. Oh, great. I suspect we're going to need a lot of these, right? Yeah. Okay, first of all, indium gallium. And you may remember when we were setting up our ore processing system, I mentioned indium gallium. And we have a few purified dusts back here that we specifically filter out of the system. 2 of those being purified sphalerite and purified galena. At a 3:1 ratio with some sulfuric acid, we have to chemical react this into indium concentrate. And then combine with aluminium dust and we get lead zinc solution, which is just a byproduct, which can be electrolyzed. And this is what gives us our indium dust, which I'm assuming we just mix with gallium. Gallium and phosphorus dust. Look at this Thumbcraft message here. You forgot what you were doing for a moment? Yeah, I totally did. As I just had a thought here, we can actually just double up the energy hatches in the blast furnace. We don't need the IV one, but we are still going to work towards it, I think, today. We are going to need indium gallium for qubit wafers, which is actually the next part of the quest up here, so it's only a couple of quests ahead. Alright, I've been busy here setting up some more LCRs. We're getting quite the collection over here. But we now have indium gallium. Well, not indium gallium, this is just indium. We need to add the gallium later on. I was debating whether or not to put this in single block machines. But I don't know, I like the LCRs quite a lot. So we're going to spam them as much as possible. So we're running one of them at EV, which is required, and one of them at HV. Down here we have a connection to our fluid P2P network. And we also use an interface to supply the purified sphalerite, galena, and aluminium dust. So underneath we have the input buses, one for each of the sphalerite, galena, and the last LCR on the end is for aluminium. And the output bus here gives us tiny piles of indium dust. There is an alternate recipe to use the full dusts. If we use 72 buckets of indium concentrate and 36 aluminium, we get the full dust. But we're just going to use this one, which is 4 aluminium dust and 8 indium concentrate. It gives us a bit more control on how much we make of this. Although I know for a fact we're going to need lots and lots of this. So maybe we'll change recipes in the future. So the first LCR makes us indium concentrate. We also need sulfuric acid, which we filter in the top from our fluid P2P network. And sulfuric acid we make over here somewhere. This one right here, it was one of the first LCRs we actually set up, and we've been maxed on we've been voiding so much sulfuric acid because we don't really use it in anything else other than this LCR for desulfurization. And just same as usual, we have the machine controllers set to safe mode and enable with redstone, and also the fluid detectors on the output hatches. So once we have indium, we also get lead zinc solution. We need to set up some sort of electrolysis for this. There's not really any point in letting it go to waste. So over at our electrolysis area in ore processing, I've modified this slightly in order to accommodate for this. So lead zinc solution is an HV recipe, and we were only using MV machines before, so I added 2 more HV electrolyzers here. One is also used for silicon dioxide, which is, I didn't realize is also an HV recipe. And silicon dioxide is one of the most plentiful resources we have at the moment. So there's not much point in keeping it as dioxide. There's not a whole lot we can do with it in this form. I would much rather get the silicon, which we're going to need in larger quantities coming up here. So we need to filter in this lead zinc solution. Oh, apparently we can't pick this up. Does a cell work? A large cell? Yeah. So we filter this into the electrolyzer, and yeah, it will be just a fluid input rather than the item input. And because we have it over here, it will all be sent into our subnet on ore processing, and should hopefully keep our main drives nice and clean. I mean, not that we don't need this stuff. There's zinc in here, which is quite useful actually. Another thing is, because we're using the circuit 1 recipe, we're getting the tiny piles of indium dust. So to manage that, we're going to add a storage bus onto this low voltage type filler. Quests everywhere. Still buying our AE2 stuff. So this is the type filter which will import tiny dusts, where over here it will get packaged once it has enough and sent into the subnet over there. But since conveniently this is a connection to our main network, anything that gets put in our drives will hit the storage bus, and we're going to put this on the highest priority on the network. This is the same priority as we have on our vacuum freezer. So what this will do is try to put every item inside here, but because the type filter can only accept tiny dusts, nothing else should get through this, and all the tiny dust should get packaged into full dusts. As far as I know, there's not any tiny dust that we need to keep as tiny dusts, but if there is, I think we could blacklist this. So the storage bus won't export any existing tiny dust that we have in our system, but if we were to, for example, take all of the tiny dust out and put them back in, it does nothing. Wait, do we have channels over here? Oh, it did disappear, it just took a second. There we go. Okay, change of plans. For some reason, lead zinc solution thinks it's special and does not want to be sent through this fluid conduit network. So we're actually not getting it over in that electrolyzer over there. If you guys have any solution for that, any zinc solution for that, let me know, but I think we're going to have to send this straight into a machine on site here. I think we should be able to fit a machine down here somewhere. Okay, this should work. I had to move the output bus to the bottom side, and we put the machine down here. I realised we also get water out of this electrolyzer, which we just trash in the trash can, and everything else is filtered to go back into our main ME interface here. All we need on this is a pump to export fluids, and we're recycling lead zinc solution now. Nice. Which means I think we can turn the system back on. We'll need to move the machine controller to the bottom side now. And this should automatically turn all purified sphalerite and galena into indium for us. Nice, and it's relatively fast as well as is. Although we can very easily overclock this just by upgrading the energy tier hatches on this. I think we're getting quite low on sphalerite though, so we may have to set up our miner on Mars, I think is where we get that. Yeah, we're only at 148 plus whatever is in the input bus over there. As you can see though, we are making indium, and now all we need to do is craft this into Indium Gallium Phosphide, which is just a mixer recipe. We can just add an AE2 pattern for this. So that is the easy bit done. Now we have to... I think we should come back to where we were in the quests and see about getting our iridium. So we need energy hatches for that, of course. I had another look at the recipe, and the problem is we need these insane voltage coils, which actually take fine iridium wire. So no matter what, we're going to have to add another energy input hatch to this thing and overclock it that way rather than having the higher tier energy hatch. So we should just be able to add it here, right? EV? Yeah, aluminium cable is EV. And this is blue alloy. This is the wrong cable. I've done that so many times. We are actually almost out of spray can as well for pink. I guess we've used the most EV cable. So our iridium is sitting pretty healthy here at 750, which is actually fairly decent considering we are... Oh, we got a quest. Yeah, it's decent considering we still have some bottlenecks in that system. So do we need a fluid for this? Xenon... Oh, we can do it with nitrogen. Okay. Yeah, nitrogen is not something we're giving to this blast furnace yet. This is only receiving oxygen, but it shouldn't be an issue to add another input hatch to this. Make sure we're on circuit 11 here. And we should be able to smelt iridium. Let's see how long this takes. 50 seconds, that's not bad. Awesome, let's put in the full stack. Let's Let's just do the full stack. We have batteries here anyway, so we should be absolutely fine for power. Aha, iridium ingots. Nice. So now we can actually use these things. And I also noticed there was a quest for the IV energy hatch here. We should come back to this indium gallium. So we need these high power ICs, which have to be IV in a clean room, which is very unfortunate actually, since I don't think we have an IV cutting machine in here. Do we? No, this is EV. Okay, so we're gonna have to add some extra functionality in here and also build IV machines. So remember a while ago when I set up the IV mixer? No, it wasn't the mixer, the assembling machine with glue. This thing right here. The whole reason I've done the IV is because we need something called graphene. To make graphene, we need to use an assembler specifically with refined glue. We also need our wafers and graphite dust. Graphite dust can be found in diamond veins. Yeah, 2000 plus we got our miner placed as well. So it means now we can add a pattern for this thing. And we do get more depending on which wafer we use. Right now we only have access to glowstone doped wafers. We can eventually use Naquada wafers for this, which does require the IV power. Although the glowstone, which is what we have right now, only requires EV. So this we can put into this assembling machine, which we conveniently have set up. Now that is forward planning, unlike some of the other mistakes we made. So graphene is just a matter of requesting this now. We do have to be careful of our glowstone wafers though. I don't think we have too many of those left. And this is the reason we need so much silicon dust. In fact, I'm gonna just start another big batch of glowstone doped wafers, since they take so long in the blast furnace. Up until this point, we've also just been manually crafting IV machines, and unlike the other machine hulls up until this point, these ones, for example, the HV only require polyethylene fluid, whereas the IV takes polytetrafluoroethylene. So it's time to add one more assembling machine. If we add it on to the end of this one, we have to be careful with our channel usage. Since we can only have 8 channels on the single cable, it means that we have to space this one out. Although I'm hoping that we have enough on the dense cable down here. 29 of 32, so yeah, we have just enough. We have enough room for another couple of machines. And we can just simply set the fluid for polytetrafluoroethylene. Everything's already been automated. And I believe we want this on circuit 8. Awesome, so now we have IV machine hulls requestable. Remember, this does take tungsten steel, so it's not cheap, but it's automated. So now it's just a matter of making our cutting machine, right? The rest of the components we should be able to manage, including the IV circuits. I think we got some from a quest reward. Yeah, we have 8 elite nanocomputers here. Okay, we have the IV cutting machine. We just need a way to power this thing. And other IV machines we'll end up with in here. As the highest tier of power we have right now is EV. I think, though, we're going to get rid of the MV line here, which means we'll need at least an IV diode. We'll do the 4 amp version again, I think. The only thing we actually use our MV machines for is this laser engraver. Although that being said, we only use this for chipsets and low voltage wiring. I don't think those require us to have this inside the clean room. Yeah, we do need to somehow keep the MV power here, unless we maybe upgrade this to a higher tier energy hatch for the clean room power itself. But I think we can get away with transforming from HV here, yeah, down to MV. And that way we can run the platinum line along to the diodes here. Yeah, that should work. You know what, we got these IV batteries from a loot bag last episode. We may as well put them to use here. They should fill up, right? Oh, there we go. It just takes a while. So that means we can put our cutting machine right here. And also hook up to our ender fluid conduits to give it lubricant. We did actually skip a step or two though. In order to actually cut these down, we need first the wafers, which have to be in a chemical reactor at IV. I was thinking that we maybe actually use this chemical reactor that we have. It would mean that we overclock this thing, but that could also be an option, as this is the same one we make our circuit boards in. How expensive is the chemical reactor at IV though? You know what, other than the circuits, it's actually not too bad. Maybe we just go for this and put it inside the clean room anyway. This process will almost certainly be changed though, as there is higher tiers of this, with indium gallium, which requires LUV, and I think there's one at ZPM and UV and so on, so we're going to have to upgrade this at every tier anyway. Yeah, I think we'll just make the IV single block, which will go right here. Once we configure these machines, I think we can just set patterns for everything now. Yeah, the only other thing is we need molten vanadium gallium, but we will just do that step manually. We'll just fill the machine. We're not going to put that on passive yet. That's a little bit crazy to do right now. Oh, that's right, we need to wait a year on this thing warming up again. Or cleaning out since we opened the door. Okay, well, in the meantime, I think the only other thing we haven't made yet is superconductor IV wire, which is expensive. Check this out. Okay, so we need another IV pump. We need superconductor base IV, which is made in the blast furnace, which is, I think, a mixer recipe between indium and vanadium. Yeah, that's right. This part is easy. We can just add the recipe for this. To blast furnace this, we need a heat capacity of 5200. To Do we have that with HSSG? Yeah, we do. It's 5400. Okay, so we send this through the blast furnace on circuit 1. 87 seconds per ingot. Oh, 100 seconds to cool down in the vacuum freezer though. Once we have the base wire though, we also need niobium titanium, which unsurprisingly is a mix between titanium and niobium. We don't have too much niobium. Yeah, we only have 41. This stuff is actually quite rare. We can get it from pyrolusite. Only if we specifically thermal centrifuge though, which I think I have filtered out. It's just that we don't have too much of this ore. But this stuff we also have to mix and blast furnace. 51 seconds this time. Forgot to also add the graphene wire recipe from graphene dust. It's nice at least that we don't have to smelt this stuff. Okay, we actually need a double batch of superconductor. And that's going to take a little while in the blast furnace. So I think in the meantime, or back to 100%. Nice. In the meantime, I'm going to fix this precision laser engraver for these two patterns here. Alright, that was easy. I added a few more machines a few days ago as well. I'm not sure if I showed this or not. But we now have things like the arc furnace, which we only had at MV in our old base before. We also got a cutting machine here, and a chemical bath for conduit binder. And on the end here is an autoclave, which is actually for carbon fiber, but we now passive that thing over there. So yeah, this just makes sure that we add the functionality back for these two recipes. Luckily, we didn't blast furnace too much of this niobium titanium. I double checked the quest here, and we need to hold a stack of the ingots and the dust. It looks like we're gonna have just enough to be able to mix this up for the quest. Oh, that's gonna take a while though. That's gonna take a while. Is there anything else we need to do for this in the meantime? Ah yes, the last component here, the 180HE coolant cell. We are gonna need some helium gas for this. And I think I know where we can find some helium gas actually. I really hope it's still in one of these tanks up here. That's chlorine, that's oxygen, hydrogen, helium-3, and regular helium. Yes, this is what we're after. Don't ask me how we got that, by the way. I really can't remember. I think it might have been endstone or something like that. We are going to can a few of these things, actually. It's just that tin is kind of expensive for us at the moment. 3 should last us for quite a while, though. And the quest book here is going to make us hold all of the dust again, even though we already crafted it all the way down into the wire. We have to wait on everything. So we basically have to recraft all this for the quest. And I don't really want to miss it at this point. I would rather pick this up while we're making the IV energy hatch. Plus we get some nice loot bags which we'll be able to open. Hey wait, that's only an EV bag. This is the IV tab. I wonder why that is. Well, I guess in the meantime we still need to collect these nether stars. And sure, there is the Thaumcraft way of getting them. But why do that when we can just do this? You know, this is not a long-term solution for us. I think it's going to do us today. But maybe next episode we look into some... Oh, something just shut down. Yeah, maybe next episode we look into some sort of mob farming solution. Okay, that's one wither down. One more to go. Oh, are we dead? Wait a second. Oh no. Oh no, we made it. We're safe, we just have to be careful. Let's do that a few more times though. I think he's stuck this time. Okay, that one was better at least. We can actually use some of our Terrawar, I believe, to get rid of wither. Aha! I remember that from last time. So the quest after we make our quantum stars does give us some more wither skeleton skulls. That's going to be useful for getting some more of these for the ender chests. But I think we're done here for today. Assuming we have enough radon actually, how long do you think it's been for me? 21,000? And we're still running this LV, remember? Yeah, I've played a lot of hours this episode. So this has to go into a chemical bath, at least at HV. I think we'll just use this one right now. Although eventually we'll probably want one to set this up automatically. How long is this going to... 96 seconds? Okay, let's check if the niobium titanium is smelted. I suspect that's the blast furnace that actually turned off, since that's the one we're now running at IV. Yeah, we've only got 47, so a couple more ingots to go. The batteries at least have refilled now. 2 quantum stars are done. This should be a quest. Now then, the expensive part, the sensor and emitter, which we now have our iridium rod. I'm not sure about the IV circuits, I didn't account for the extra chemical reactor we built. We can add a recipe for the rod though. And we need 3 circuits for this. I think we have 4 left. Although that means that we won't be able to get the circuit assembling machine, which is our ultimate goal this episode. The next tier of circuit assembling machine means we can make more advanced EV circuits. I don't know if we're going to have enough materials for this though. Hold on a sec, wait, we already have a sensor. We must have got this from a loot bag. Do we have the emitter by any chance? No, just envy. Well, at least we got the sensor. That just means we need 1 emitter. 1 emitter we can easily manage. You're gonna hate this. We haven't had one of those in a while. And the circuit assembling machine, we need another 3 circuits for this. Okay, let's see what we're missing here. Oh, we have the piston already. Okay, we need 3 more motors. And we already have the conveyor modules. Okay, we should be able to get this actually. Very good. There's the other 2 motors, which means we should be able to pick up the robot arm. Oh, right, and we're still missing the 2 circuits, which is LUV. That's right. The circuit assembling machines take the tier above. I just assumed these were IV circuits. And it seems the only option we have currently is still to get the mainframes. It doesn't look too bad though, assuming we can make 4 nanocomputers. And we have 1, so we need 3 of these things. We're missing fine annealed copper wire. That's nothing. Okay. We're out of pattern space in the wire mill though, so we'll just do this manually. And we'll also need the pattern for the mainframe. Hopefully we can craft as few of these as possible is the idea. This mainframe will go in our circuit assembling machine. Oh wow, we actually have everything. Nice. You know, when it's laid out like this, it actually doesn't even look all that expensive either. While this is crafting, let's turn our attention back to the IV energy hatch. We need our iridium coils with the iridium wire. Oh, and the circuits are crafting, look at this. Just came up here to make some more of these, what is it, power ICs? The ones that we need for the high power ICs. Which we should be able to now request using our Indium Gallium Phosphide. This, I think, is going to go through the new chemical reactor here. Ah, that's right, we also need molten vanadium gallium. Now you should craft. And these just have to be cut in the new IV cutting machine. And the niobium titanium is finished in the blast furnace. All 64 ingots. Oh, and the next quest is locked here. We require the quest Indium. Oh, which is in the EV tab here. We need to hold purified sphalerite. Oh no. Oh no, did we use it all? I think we might have used it all. Yeah, we don't have any more sphalerite. Wait, I wonder if we have any crushed left in the chest here. We may not be getting this quest today. Any of this sphalerite by any chance? That's bentonite. Oh no. It's not looking good for us. Oh, we got a stack. Oh, this is... Okay, we got a stack. We can actually do this today. Let's disconnect the outputs. And we'll just wash this manually. There's the quest. Okay, that now opens up superconductor wire again. We need to mix more of that dust, make more of that wire. It seems that we have to add a battery buffer here, our vacuum freezer. It keeps turning off, which means we're not getting enough power to this when we need it. Yeah, the margins are getting very, very slim in terms of power usage now. We really have to do something about our power generation. These things are on pretty much all of the time. Oh, and we have maintenance issues here. That probably doesn't help. We are also going to pick up one of the quests we missed in EV for these elite nanocomputers. Maybe? There we go. So that more or less completes out the EV chapter. We technically have all this platinum stuff down here, we just don't have the quest for it. Now we can complete the mainframes and pick up our IV circuit assembling machine. Lots of quests today. This thing is going to sit right here. And I think we may as well just transfer all the recipes over since it's going to be faster in the IV one. But the last thing for today is to make our superconductors. Circuit 9, we need circuit 9. So these superconductors act as a lossless cable at IV tier, which is why they're so expensive. And also to craft our energy input hatch. There it is, the thing we've been working all episode for. I mean, technically the circuit assembler was more important, but yeah, we knocked out all those quests in IV today, which was really nice. So with that, I think this is also a good point to wrap up the episode. We ended up quite long today, but we got quite a lot done as well. You know what, we can't really end the episode without at least one loot bag. We're kind of out of graphene for it anymore, so we'll get at least one of these things. Let's make this fortune 3, and hope we get some decent luck. Not really. Oh, that was a disappointing end. Anyways, that is going to do this for today. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all soon for some more Gregtech New Horizons.